This is the RoundTable. How you doing there, Darren? So we're excited to have everyone here. We have Inc. Authority who's going to be joining us. I think our presenter, he's trying to call in, so we'll give him a second, but we won't waste any time while we're here. Okay, so we have Inc. Authority who is going to be joining us, hopefully here real soon. So, Sarah, we can try and get him on the line. His name is Chris McKinish, and he's a business advisor with Inc. Authority, and so it's an honor to have him come join us. We have people who will join the call throughout. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Ebony. I am part of the Bates International Group. We have some of the other folks from the Bates International Group who are either on the call or who will join the call. But we just appreciate everybody coming on to join us today. So, I'll go ahead, and even though Chris isn't on the call with us, and I think he should be joining us soon, I'd say that to have an LLC is important for anybody who is, in any kind of business. I have a ton of questions for Chris, so I hope that he is able to join us soon. But my big thing is, you should, from the start, before you start making a whole lot of money, go ahead and organize. And so, for me, I can talk about my personal experience. I have an LLC. Obviously, it's called the Bates International Group, and I created it back in about 2018, somewhere around that. And I've been able to, do a lot of things that I wouldn't normally be able to do, no matter how much money I make, because I have an LLC, and, I've been able to use that to leverage and, grow my business. So Chris,
All right. Can you hear me now? I think I might be in.
Yep, we hear you.
There you are. Sorry, it kept telling me I was muted and I couldn't figure out how to do it. But yes, I am here.
Great to have you, Chris.
Great to have you guys.
We're only 7 minutes down. I'm an optimist. I think that we can get through all the information that we needed to get through. So let's just kind of jump right in. You work for Inc. Authority. You're a business advisor. You help folks create LLCs. Some of the folks on the call have LLCs already. So can you just kind of jump right in and maybe just first tell us a little bit about the differences between an LLC, an S Corp, and maybe a C Corp, and just throw it at us and help us leverage our businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the main thing, LLC, corporations, S Corp or C Corp, they're there to give you guys liability protection. So they separate the people from the company. Now, there's not a bunch of privacy because people can still see you own the businesses. That's where, trust and land trust come in for the privacy. But big things, it's just how you're taxed. The S Corp, the C Corp, and the LLC. What we always recommend is when you're setting up any of these, because you can set up an LLC, tax it as an S Corp if you guys need to, if that's better for you. One of the few things we don't do is taxes. We don't have an accountant in-house or a CPA. So we usually say the easier, most simpler way to separate yourself from the company, set up an LLC, and then talk to your accountant if you have one to see if it is better to tax yourself as a C Corp, because you usually can get more benefits and more tax breaks at the end of the year when you do it that way. Different strategies like the C Corp and these, it could be meant for more bunch of employees. You guys got 20 people under your belt, then yes, that could be the better structure for you. Our main thing is just setting you up the right way by getting you separate. But then depending on your type of industry, help you with setting up, business credit, land trust, real estate, revocable living trust, trademarks. We even help with e-commerce websites if you guys need to get the name out there a little more. So our main thing is to get you set up correctly, but then all the additional things to kind of help you guys grow. but keep it as private as possible too. We don't want your names on everything. We want to avoid that as soon as possible, and that's kind of the structure we go with these things.
Makes sense. I mean, Inc. Authority, a lot of people, have said a lot of good things, and there's some pundits out there, but one of the things that I liked about Inc. Authority is that it makes it accessible to a lot of people who may not really know a lot about the process. You guys
Yeah.
create free LLCs for folks. Isn't that right?
That's right. What we do is, the only thing you pay through us when you're setting up an LLC is the initial setup costs with the state fee, and then you pay for your legal paperwork. All and any other attorney will charge you those same fees, but also charge you what their fee is on top of that. So if it's, $200, up the way I've seen, attorneys charge $800 just for their time. What we do is make sure you're set up right at the lowest cost possible that you'd have to pay, just the hard cost to the state and the paperwork. But help you throughout the process too, help you renew when that time is due. When tax time does come, we remind you on these things. If you're trying to separate a property that's in your name and you're renting it out and you don't want someone trying to sue you if they fall down at that property, we want to make sure your name gets off that. We have different setups and structures and different types of trusts we can help you set up. But main thing is, getting your foot in the door, getting your LLC set up the right way at the lowest possible. And then have our team just kind of support you from there forward. You guys have questions on anything, you call us.
Now, what's your opinion on, when people should, think about putting together an LLC? Like, is there a certain amount of business or certain amount of money that a person should, make before they put together their LLC?
And my recommendation would be to set it up before you make money. Get your name off of everything. There's a lot of tax breaks that come with LLCs and corporations. So I'd say set it up as soon as you can. So if you do dump any money into this, even if you're not bringing in a profit, you're a business. Those are one of the business perks, is you get tax write-offs and different, tax breaks at the end of the year. So if we have clients that have been in business for 20 years that finally do this, and we set up a bunch of things for them, but we also get the ones that, hey, I'm looking to do this. So before I start, I want to protect myself, because who knows what day 6 is going to kind of bring to us, and I don't want to get sued. We've seen it before, and we probably will see it again. We want you guys protected in case that worst case scenario happens.
For sure. Are there any questions out there initially? Nobody has any questions about creating an LLC or how to leverage their current LLC, maybe by modifying it in some way? Okay.
I have a question. And again, apologies for being late. It's coming from another engagement.
Oh, no worries. I was having trouble too.
So with regard to LLC, can you talk about some of the privacy aspects of the LLC? So I know with doing like an S Corp or a C Corp, you can do like an anonymous filing and completely kind of obscure your identity in that regard. But LLCs tend to be a bit more porous. What steps can you take to fully obscure yourself using an LLC as opposed to one of the other corporate vehicles?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, you got to be careful. LLC, S Corp, C Corp, they're all the same when it comes to privacy. If you search a corporation on the state website, you'll find their name just as quick as you'll find an LLC name. Those aren't more set up for privacy. Those are just different tax breaks you get for the industry that you're in. The privacy part comes because LLC and the corporations, they're there for liability. They're there to give you guys that legal separation. In case the company gets sued, they're not going after, your house and your car and your savings account. The privacy aspect comes in when you're setting up a trust, because you can have a living trust over your LLC or over your corporation. You issue ownership of that business to your trust. So there's your privacy there. It gives you the most privacy you can get with having a business. But then on your personal side, all your personal assets go inside that trust. So your personal home, your car, your kids' savings, your jewelry, whatever it may be, you throw it all into that trust. So on paper, you look homeless. If something happens to you on the personal side, people don't know you own a company or have properties. It's all hidden on your trust. You guys look homeless on paper. That's what we want it to look like. to where I always hear our real estate guys give the example, if you rear end somebody and they look you up and say their back hurts, now they want to sue you. Well, they're not going to find anything if they look you up. It just shows you have no assets because it's all hidden. Now, they might know you got a trust if they're pretty sure you own different things, but they can't prove that. That's kind of the main thing for the privacy part of it. But no, LLCs, corporations, I mean, it's all public info. That's where the trust structure kind of got set up to where if you want to be as private as possible, you set your trust up, it protects your assets, you put ownership of the business to your trust. And if something terrible happens to you, the trust helps you avoid probate. So if you do pass away, your belongings go to the right people. It falls to your friends and family. It doesn't go to the state or anything like that. And your business doesn't close unless you want it to, and you put that in your trust. So that does include your will. But nope, corporations, LLCs, they're really not private. There's some states that are more private than others that they might have to click a few more buttons on the state site to find your name. But the only way to kind of get around that is setting up a privacy trust or a revocable living trust is what it would be.
Can you talk about the usages for the trust and the LLC with helping your heirs avoid capital gains tax and death taxes and things like that, like kind of reducing tax liability?
Yeah, it's really just probate. And that's the main thing. It avoids the probate and avoids anything going to the state where they can tax it and take any percentage from anything in the trust. Doesn't matter what it is. Avoiding that, everything just falls exactly how you lay it out. But it's revocable too. So you guys can make updates and change this as many times as you need to. We get people that move properties in and out because they sold their home and now they, moved away from the cold and they live in Arizona now. We get clients that all of a sudden they hate their son and they want to get him out of there, and they'll call in and we'll update their trust to get him out. There's many different things you can do, but it's really just avoiding probate when it comes to anything being taxed if something does happen.
So basically, if the house, for example, is in the LLC and then that gets transferred over to the trust, and say, for example, the person responsible for setting everything up, they pass away, and the house then goes to the child or the dependent child, that child will be able to assume that house without having to pay the taxes on that. Because what is that, about 45% now? They got hit with capital gains.
It really all depends on the state, what state you're in, because every state is different. And that's a big thing too, why when we set up the trust, we assign you a legal team. They're the ones that build the trust, help you move things into there, just in case something does come up, or you have a friend that's done this, 10 years ago, and they're saying, well, no, I was told this is what happens. You have a legal rep. When we set this up, we get a legal rep assigned to you. My job is to make sure you have it. As long as you have it, you have them to kind of support you for the life of it. Then again, if something happens, you know where everything's going to fall if something does come up.
What are some of the common mistakes Mohammed, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that or ask any more questions about the trust?
No, I've run my mouth enough. Thank you.
No, I mean, it's a good question. But what are some of the common mistakes that folks make whenever they're, organizing?
Like setting up a business or setting up the trust, or just overall?
I was gonna say overall, just for folks who are, thinking about doing this, like what are common things that come up that you've seen?
Yeah, I would see taking baby steps. That's the big one we see a lot is I always tell my clients, I mean, I've been doing this almost 10 years now. If they're so worried about, if you can do it, do it. If you can't, we totally understand. Take those baby steps. We'll get a lot of clients that'll register their name, get their LLC, they start buying property, and they don't get things private and hidden and put in the right spots. And something happens. Life comes up. We don't expect to get in a car wreck. We don't expect someone to pass away. We don't expect to get sued. It's always that what if. That's why people have insurance. It's the what if. Hopefully we never have to use it, but it's there in case we do. It's those baby steps. A lot of our clients take them and something happens and now they're trying to backtrack. And what they'll do is they'll call in, hey, this is, I'm getting sued. Can I get the trust set up now? Yes, we can, but if there's any paperwork filed, this is not going to help you. So that's a big thing too. I'd always say those baby steps.
For people like, some of the folks on the call who already have, the LLC, they maybe even have a trust. What is the best way to organize and make sure that, you have you're covered appropriately? Like, for example, at what point does it make sense to get, a real estate privacy trust?
If you ever have any rental property, if you have any property that you rent out or Airbnbs, these types of things, that privacy trust, also known as a land trust, that's just going to keep separation from any other properties that you have, but make it private so people don't know you're the one that owns that property. You put the property out of your name into the land trust name, so people just see, hey, this house I live at, 123 Maple Street. That's who I pay my rent to, 123 Maple Street. They'll never know who the person is that owns it. So it's really hard for them to find you or go after you. So that's a big one. Another big one is credit. Many people think setting up credit with their bank establishes business credit when it does not. You're still a personal guarantee on that. There's a route you have to go through Dun & Bradstreet to activate a paydex score. Once you get that, it makes it a lot easier to get funding off the business and credit cards and lines of credit, these things, so you can kind of come out of your pockets and stop using your personal money or personal credit. And it does nothing but build business credit. As you use it, it shoots up your company credit score and it gives you leverage to do more things with the business. But again, you're just controlling it. You're pulling the strings. Something happens, you can take a step back because all of it's off of you.
Okay, so and so you answered one part of my question, and that is a land trust and a real estate privacy trust. They're one and the same thing.
One and the same. Yeah, same thing. Same exact thing. When I started here, when we would get them for clients, we'd process them. They were real estate privacy trusts. Now they're in our system as land trusts. Same exact thing.
And if you have multiple properties, do you put them all under one real estate privacy trust, or how does that work?
Yeah, very good question. You would not want to. It's like having, say you have 5 properties and you throw them all into your LLC. Now, if any of those properties get sued, yes, you're protected. You have an LLC that gave you liability protection, but there's 4 other properties in that LLC that they can sue. They can go after those because they're held inside an LLC. Same thing would happen if they sue a land trust. They sue a land trust and you have multiple properties in there. They go after everything. Everything's in one basket. What you'd want to do, instead of setting up multiple LLCs for each property, you'd set up multiple land trusts. So you'd have a land trust for each property. They don't know who the owner is. It's separate from all the other properties. One property gets sued, is protected by the LLC, so you still have liability protection, but they can't hurt those other properties because they're in their own specific land trust. It's kind of like if you ever heard the story of Walt Disney, when he's buying all the property up in Orlando to set up Disney World, he wasn't buying it. He didn't have an attorney representing him to go out because people would have jacked the prices up knowing that, hey, this guy is well known and he's trying to build an amusement park here, so we're going to sell our property for a lot more. He was setting up hundreds of different land trusts, and he'd buy the property in the land trust name. And the last few people caught on, and their prices went up for their property, but he bought them all separate. No one knew it was him. He was doing them under different names. So it just gives that privacy too. No one knows you're the one that owns those. They don't know who you are. If they sue one property, they can't go after your 10 other ones if you have them.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So, other than your residence, or maybe would you suggest that you put your residence in a real estate privacy trust, or would you suggest that go into your, revocable
Your
living
trust?
trust?
Yep. Yep. Awesome. You're right on. So you'd put your personal residence into your revocable living trust in case something happens to you, your property goes to your children or who you want it to go to. Any rental property, that's where you put those, or any Airbnbs, these types of things. These would go into a land trust. Keep those in a land trust. Put your personal residence into your revocable living trust.
So for the flippers who are watching the video, would you treat a property that is a rental that you hold, like an Airbnb, that's a longer term hold, would you treat that differently than, let's say, a property that you plan to flip and only hold for about maybe 6 to 8 months or something like that?
No, you'd still set up a land trust. The cool thing with that is you put a property in a land trust and then you sell it in 6 months. instead of taking the deed out of the land trust and selling it to that person, that's a transfer tax that you have to pay. You can avoid that by just selling the trust. You can sell the whole trust, the whole basket all at one time. Hey, if you got another property you're going to acquire, just get another land trust. Set up another land trust. You can avoid that tax, that transfer tax, if you are selling it to somebody. We do get clients that, hey, they want to keep that trust because they're about to move another property into it. Well, they'll take that property, get it out of the trust. They'll have an empty trust, empty land trust, and they can just move a new property into there. They can quit claim it right into that land trust. So there's many ways to do it, and this is where our legal team would come in and tell you, hey, instead of you paying a transfer tax, just sell the whole trust. You can sell that for whatever you want. If you paid this much for it, you can double that if you want to and sell it to that person. Now they have privacy. Now they have the 123 Maple Street Trust. They're probably going to want that. It's that's privacy for them. So yeah. So there's a bunch of ways to do it. Main ways, I'd say, just sell the whole basket, sell the whole trust if you ever flip that.
I think that's a great nugget there. I appreciate that because, transfer taxes, can be quite expensive. So I think that's fantastic. And you talked about, a few things in that. Can you speak a little bit more about financing and, can you jump to that for us?
Like financing, like with the trust, is that what you mean?
Well, I know that Inc. Authority, as a service, you help businesses get financing,
Yeah.
and leverage that, so I think that that's an important part of what you guys do, and we only have just a few minutes, so I kind of wanted to jump over to.
That's the easiest one. I can go quick on that. So instead of the financing is more just a building business credit. We don't want you guys using your personal, even if you have it. If you have 50 grand set aside, great. That's awesome. You do. Don't use it all if that's your personal money, because if coronavirus comes back and knocks your company out like it did a couple years back to a lot of businesses, you owe that money. That's your money that you dumped into it. There's a way to activate that DUNS number to get you that PAYDEX score. And then we can help you with those things. You need vendor credit, trade lines, Home Depot credit if you guys are refurbishing a house or whatever it may be. Yeah, I would say we'd help you activate business credit. We build our clients 3-year business plans when they do the business credit. And it saves them money too, because you're paying almost double the cost through the credit bureau when you do it yourself. Well, we partner with them, so we can lower the cost on that activation. And then, yeah, you guys let our credit team know and our business plan team kind of the outlook on what you want to do with the company. And we can tack it. We know what vendors, we know what banks that we can help you reach out to get those things.
That's awesome. And I mean, we had a little bit of a late start, but I mean, we ran through the gamut. I don't know.
Ebony, can I ask a question real quick?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's a quick question for you, Chris. I was wondering if can multiple people without being organized as a LLC just own a property trust for an investment property?
They can, yeah, like the land trust for like a property they're renting out.
Yes.
Yeah, they can. It's all done through the paperwork, and we get that a lot too. So if we ever get that, like even when we set up trust, because I think we've done a lot of these things for you. We don't even get the name of what you want to name the trust or a bunch of info yet. We process it, get you into their system. Our legal team calls you, and they just they go over everything. They ask every question they need to. You let them know what's going on, so we can structure this the right way for you.
Any other questions out there? No questions. Okay. Well, I think that's a good thing. And Chris, you're just on the call here. We can't see your information. Do you want to go ahead and shout out your information for anybody who wants to jot it down?
Absolutely. The best way to get a hold of me is just right through my direct number. I'm only Chris here, which is really crazy with how many people we have. But Chris McKinish. My last name is McKinish. And I think it's on the flyer that I see here too. My direct number to me is area code 775-567-3429. And that gets right to my desk here.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, guys, don't sleep on Inc. Authority's, offer to create an LLC for you free of charge. And of course, there's a bunch of stuff that is going to sound really good to you whenever you're on the phone with the rep, and you're going to probably end up with a binder and stuff like that. And what I will say, this is what I got from Inc. Authority. It's really nice. One thing that I'll plug is that, yes, it does cost more money to get things like that, but whenever you walk into a bank and you're trying to get a loan, and you pull and they ask you for your articles of organization and all the things that they're going to ask you for, and you pull out a binder like that where it's really well organized, I feel and I think that I've gotten a better response since I brought Inc. Authority on versus whenever I was doing it by myself. And, so, there is something to be said for, just going forward and allowing someone to help you, at least in the beginning stages as you get your bearings as a new business. So I appreciate you, Chris McKinish, for coming on.
Of course.
You did a wonderful job, letting us know all the things. And, there's a ton that you guys do that we didn't even touch on, but, people can get out and, give you a call, and reach out to you.
Of course, and I'm here until 5 Pacific every day. Had a sick little one this morning, so I was running behind. So sorry, I was a couple minutes late on that. But yeah, you guys call me. I'm here 8 to 5 Pacific time. I'm here about an hour and a half today. So if you guys need me with anything, just let me know. Shoot me a call.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining the call. It has been an amazing year. I appreciate everybody who's on here, everybody that will see this in the future. It's been an awesome 2023. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you next year. This is the last roundtable of 2023. It's been real. I appreciate everyone. Muhammad, big shout out to you. Love you guys. So happy 2023.
Love you too.
Awesome. See you guys.
Appreciate it, everyone. Talk soon.